Don't go deep in the water.
One or the other anyway.
But at the end of the day, like, it's just having a chat, you know what I mean?
Hello and welcome. We are in the Adelaide CBD doing a very special Farmers Union Iced Coffee edition of Coffee with SamPaul. I said to EmceeBrodz, said, man, let's grab a coffee. He goes, I don't do coffee, I do iced coffee. I said, okay, well, let's go with SA's own. And so here I am with my lactose-free
Iced coffee edition. Yeah, you're relapsing, and I'm just like committed to
the addiction.
Yeah.
Shout
out Farmers Union.
Yeah. Sponsor us.
Oh, dude, that'd be so sick.
So
are we having a sip?
Yeah, let's have a sip. Let's get
do
into
it. Cheers.
Oh, that's so good. Anyway, good to have you on, man. So as I said, we're on Coffee with SamPaul with my man EmceeBrodz. He's a local MC, amongst other things. But we're going to have a chat about the music. Mm-hmm. And I reckon we'll start with a bit of an origin story, man. Like,
yeah,
a bit of a rundown how you got to this point.
Yeah, awesome. So, in terms of music, I grew up just kind of listening to whatever my parents would play. My mum had pretty good taste in music. She's gonna love me saying this when she watches this back.
Shout out to your mum.
Shout out Susan.
Susan, what up?
Yeah, she had. I'll admit it on camera. I won't admit it to her face, but she had pretty good taste in music.
I'm leaving that in there, by the way.
Yeah, that's fine. Yeah, she'll love it. She'll love the shout out. But she had pretty good taste in music, and grew up listening to whatever she had going on, and then I used to love hip hop features in like pop songs.
Yeah, word.
So obviously mid 2000s, that was very a part of it, part of what's going on in like pop music, the Snoop features and the Wayne features and all that. So and I was like loving that sound and loving a rapper coming in, and then I actually didn't realize until I found Eminem that like rappers have their own songs where they do their own thing, you know what I mean?
You could get that impression because there was a lot of pop songs like
that's it. It's like, there's a whole song of this? Wow. Yeah. Discovered Eminem at like 12 years old or whatever it was. Became a full-blown stan, I'll admit it. And from there I kind of dived into, like when you find Snoop, when you find Eminem, you find Snoop, and you find Dre, and you find 50 and all that. So you go back into the history of hip hop, and you go through all the different eras and the different sounds and styles. And I fell in love with all of it pretty much.
Yeah.
And then got to a certain age where I was like looking for new music, and like a whole bunch of new rappers came out, like your Gambinos and like Logics and all those kind of guys.
Chance the Rapper as well?
Yeah, that's it. Chance the Rapper as well. Loved all that kind of sound coming out, like the new school sort of like 2010 and onward sound.
Yeah.
And from there, I kind of just fell in love with all the new stuff coming out. So that got me into the culture and got me up to date and got me like keeping my ear out for new music coming out and following hip hop as a culture. Yeah.
Yeah, word. And I will just make mention that I got a lot of respect for you, Brody, because a lot of the younger cats that I've experienced working with through the years, they like the music, but that's as far as it goes. They're like right into the music. But for those like myself, to older heads, we recognise that it's a whole culture. You've got music, you've got the DJing, you've got the dancing, and you've got the graffiti artwork, and then of course the knowledge, which is like the history and of the culture and
the fifth element. Yeah,
the fifth element, exactly as KRS-One would say.
Yeah.
Word up. So it's really good to see sort of young cats carrying that torch, so to speak, because like that, we've got to keep that shit going. We've got to keep the education flowing. And
definitely.
I also want to say shout out to Josh.
Yeah, my brother.
Shout out to Josh.
Yeah, that's it. And Josh, my brother, he's also one of my biggest supporters. Like, like text me like before every gig I play, like go get 'em, bro, and like listens to the music and knows the words and has favorite songs and everything like that.
How good is it looking out to the crowd and seeing people know the words?
Oh, it's amazing. It's so good. And then as far as like my history as well, like how I got into the music side of things, I was always like a listener growing up, but then I'd start to write.
Yeah.
Like writing short raps, which then progressed kind of into like song structures. So verse, chorus, traditional like boom bap structure. And then I didn't actually record anything until I was about 17 years old at Northern Sound System. They had a program going on called Hip Hop School, and you'd go there And it was pretty much like a cheeky way of getting your SACE because I didn't finish school. So I don't know how it would give you the credits to like finish school, but somehow it did.
Yeah.
And you'd go there and I'd pretty much watch a hip hop documentary. Like a general day would consist of watch a hip hop documentary, mess around on Fruity Loops and like write bars and then record bars in the studio. And somehow that got like people their English credit.
Yeah, nice.
Yeah.
God, if I'd have that when I was at school, I'd have done way better at year
Dude.
12, that's for sure.
Yeah, that's it. I'll be like I'd have a doctorate or something by now. Yeah. But yeah, so yeah, I first put it to wax, you know, like in the Northern Sound studio, and from there I got the bug. So I was like, I think when I could afford it, because I was on a bit of a tight budget back then, living on my own at like 18. But I save up my money and hit the studio probably like 3 times a year, put out like 3 songs a year, like fully produced, mixed and mastered. And then from there, as like my money's increased and stuff like that, been working and all that kind of thing, I've been able to like kind of discover my sound a lot more, and you know, like play some shows as well, which has been great.
Yeah. Speaking of shows, I know just recently you did a pretty big show in Adelaide,
Yeah.
which is really cool. Do you want to tell us about that?
Yeah, I was lucky enough to play the D12 Snoop Dogg after party, so supporting D12 in Adelaide, which was so sick.
Yeah.
Dream come true. I think I made a post about it with a video, and in the caption it said like, you know, like if you told me I was doing this 10 years ago as like a hip hop obsessed kid, you know, I would have told you you're lying, you know, yeah, I had to pinch myself, you know what I mean? Because those guys are legends, and they've done so much for me in my life in terms of the music and the impact they've had on me. So being able to open for those guys was truly like a special moment in my life. Yeah, and
Definitely.
and also like the way I found out I got it as well, having like they put out a post saying, you know, like, if you want to play like the D12 after party, we're looking for 8 artists. You know, get your fan base or your friends or whatever to tag your page, and you know, like I hit up all my friends, everybody I possibly knew. You know what I mean? And I was lucky enough to be chosen, got enough tags and stuff like that. And then I think I also put on like probably the best performance of my whole entire life, which was excellent.
Oh,
yeah.
definitely. I had the pleasure of being there. I was the resident DJ for the night. Not to sort of start talking about me, it's obviously about EmceeBrodz, but I witnessed that performance, and I've seen Brody perform many times since we met a few years back, and it's like a switch just flicked that night. Honestly, like I've never seen a young cat just, you know, had the crowd eating out of his hand, legit. Like it was so good.
Thanks, bro. I appreciate it. I made a point because I've been watching a lot of like podcasts about like because like obviously I identify as an artist, and I watch a lot, and it's hard in the world as an artist to kind of you know, sometimes you think to yourself like, who am I kidding myself? Like, why am I walking around like, not that I'm putting myself on a pedestal, but why am I thinking that like I'm this great person who's, you know, like telling these like stories and stuff like that? What gives me the right kind of thing? But you know, like I listen to these podcasts and it really like puts you in that headspace to like assure yourself as an artist. And one thing they always say about like live shows is, you know, like whether you do great or you're like or bad, or if you're on first or last, make an impact.
Yeah, word.
So that's where I've kind of put my energy into. Like I'm not only like rehearsing heaps and stuff like that, but you know, like knowing the material inside and out, but also just like making an impact on the crowd, involving the crowd in what I'm doing, and making them feel a part of the journey, which is something I've focused on, and it's like definitely paid dividends for me.
Yeah, word, man, word. Now that's some good advice there, man. Like, now I do seem to recall back when we first met, there was some, I think we talked a bit about mental health.
Yeah, definitely.
You've had some sort of struggles. Did you want to?
Yeah, definitely.
Okay, talk about that a bit.
Yeah, of course. Happy to share my story.
Everyone that watches the show would know by now. I'm a big advocate for mental health, as I'm sure you know as well.
Yeah, as am I.
Having my own struggles with anxiety and things like that. So I always like to sort of talk about it and get that conversation flowing. So
yeah, for sure. Yeah, so basically, the rundown with me, I guess, is I think I've always struggled with like there's a family history of like depression and anxiety. Those are two things that plague me to like this day. Like even this morning, like the anxiety I had this morning and stuff like that. But I'm like diagnosed BPD, so that's borderline personality disorder.
Wow.
So that's been a struggle to deal with.
No doubt.
So like characteristics of that are kind of like it's obviously not the same for everyone, so I can only speak for myself. But heightened emotions, and you know, when your emotions are heightened, reacting to everyday life and dealing with everyday life can become very hard. Like having intense emotional responses to the simplest of things in life. Like if something goes wrong, you know, having like an intense sadness, or like I'm prone to breakdowns over like tiny things. Or I'm even one thing that's unspoken about with like BPD a little bit is also like intense highs. So like there's days where I guess you feel like I guess like it feels like the sun's shining and like nobody can tell you shit, and like you're like, but it's almost like a dangerous level of positivity, because you go and spend all your money kind of thing. Like like you're not worried about.
I'm not laughing like obviously at the situation, but it's just the way you describe it. You know, like I know I can relate.
Drink too much, like on the day, like you're very euphoric, and you walk around like, and you're not worried about you know the future. You're living for today, and that can kind of lead to problems. And then realistic things like dealing with life, like saving money becomes hard when you have this kind of diagnosis. As well as like planning for the future and being organised just in your general life, as well as keeping a job sometimes. I've managed to be employed like for the last 5 years or so, but just like
massive props, man.
Thanks, man. Like waking up and like not feeling like going to work and stuff like that, and having like a workplace that is okay with it, or like helps you through it kind of thing, is very beneficial. And this kind of thing features heavily in my music. Used to feature very literal in my music. Like it used to be like you'd know exact like I'd have the buzzwords of like depression and all that kind of thing in there. But nowadays I think as I've grown as a songwriter, my storytelling as far as mental illness goes, like it's there, but it's a lot more nuanced and subtle. Like it's definitely there, and it definitely has that impact still, but it's not like me. It's not like a rant about my feelings anymore in a rap kind of thing. It's a lot more. It's a lot more in depth, but also subliminal, and I guess is metaphoric a word? Metaphors is the word I'm trying to get to.
Metaphoric is a word.
Yeah, metaphoric. There you go. I should have just run with it. So if you listen to my music, you'll get a lot of those like nuances.
And you know, while it is great to talk very openly about it, like you did in your earlier days, from a musical, artistic point of view, it is good to be a bit more nuanced the way you were talking, because if you just shove it in their face and say, hey, this is what's going on, this is my story of the song, the song tends to not have much longevity.
That's it.
And so you might get a little bit of a message out of it, but now that you're doing it in a more articulate way, I suppose you could say, then I guess you're creating a longevity with your music.
That's
which means
it.
that then your message is going to be heard further and wider.
That's it. And another big part of it also is the sonic like elements that you bring to this sort of thing. So like if you listen to my song like Dear Jay, obviously it's a sadder song about like me losing my best friend when I was in high school. He passed away, unfortunately, which was like heartbreaking for me. And obviously for the family and the school and everything like that. But if you listen to that song, like it captures that sort of energy with the instrumental and stuff like that. And I love that song and how it is. But nowadays, I think as a songwriter, I'm kind of I'm able to talk about harder topics and stuff like that with a more upbeat or broad kind of like accessible sound. Which is another big part of kind of like music making. You're almost like I'm really good at setting a tone through the music. So like if it's sad, it's like sad beat. If it's happy, happy beat. But like there's a skill in kind of like implementing these like sadder storytelling nuances into like more upbeat music. And that's kind of how I've found, I think, a good like avenue to get to that sort of like success has been like the sounds I'm experimenting with now, like the Beastie Boys kind of like influence the old school like 80s rap rock as well as the nu metal. So it helps me get my pain out. And also in terms of songwriting, like lyricism, instead of literally describing the exact feeling that I'm having in a sentence, it's more like being super literal about it. It's more just being instead of explaining what's happening, I'm giving the feeling.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
it's definitely easier for me to express myself and get my pain out.
Yeah, that's it. You know, a good example of that, I reckon, would be probably the track that I think went off the most when you did the D12 gig, which was Crash Test Dummy. Like, honest to God, like, I mean, I grew up when the Crash Test Dummies were like, you know, both a thing, like, you know, I forget what it was, a show or something maybe, but there was also a group called the Crash Test Dummies. But every time I hear that song, like, I just feel myself getting whiplash from being smashed in the back end of my car or something like that. Even though I've never actually had that happen, I kind of feel like I have an idea of what it feels like, just the way you describe it, you know, as a crash test dummy. And I think that's really cool. Like, I think the way of describing things, like when as you progress in that artist, can be so intricate and so descriptive. It's like such an incredible thing. Yeah,
Crash Test Dummy is just like I think it's the first thing that came to my mind when I heard like that riff in the core of the song. Like that song is going to be on my upcoming EP. I've no idea when it's going to be out yet or anything like that. Like it's I've chopped and changed it many times, and it's going to be something that I'll be working on for a while before it ever comes out. But I'm so proud of that song. I'm really proud of that song, and Crash Test Dummy is just like a metaphor for, you know, the song's about bullying and like being bullied in school and how that's kind of affected my life, and it's a bit self-indulgent, but in a good way. Like the second like core of the song, like the second half of the song is about me like fictionally wishing I could have beat them up in a real cartoony way. So it's me like getting my anger out. It explains the pain and stuff I went through. But then it's like, joke's on you, not so funny, you're going to be my crash test dummy. And then I, through the verses, I describe me kind of like, you know, beating them up.
Nice. I mean, I don't condone violence, but having come from a bullying background myself, as in being bullied myself most of my life, even when I started doing hip hop, there was a lot of guys in the scene that would you know, harass me online or, you know, say shit at shows and stuff. So I can relate to that feeling that you want to be able to fight back, even if maybe at the time you really couldn't, because it's not, you know, because it's not who you are, or you're not strong enough or whatever. But
not to like hate on anybody or anything, but like I'm genuinely a pretty positive guy, and I can like forgive and forget. Obviously I've got like it's had an impact on my life, but people who I've had experiences with in school now, it's a funny moment because actually they don't know about this song because it's not out yet or anything, but they've like, people have come to me, which has been a weird experience, who bullied me in praise of the music I'm making, which has been, you know, like both really positive and like a little bit strange for me, kind of like having that happen. But overall it's all love. Like it's got me to the place I am now, so I'm kind of in a way grateful for it. But I do wish, like, I do deal with the things that are a result of it every day. But but it's a weird thing. I know exactly what you mean when you say that. That's it. And often bullies, I guess, like do that kind of thing because they're dealing with their own internal stuff. So it's almost like acting out on how they feel subconsciously, and that's also something I touch on in the song as well.
Exactly. Exactly. I think as someone being bullied, when you come to terms with that, while it doesn't make it easier to deal with it, definitely you can kind of, I guess, get a bit of perspective on sort of why they're doing what they're doing.
Definitely.
You know, so anyway, thank you so much for coming under coffee.
Got some flies going around.
Yeah, it's what happens when it's been raining, I think.
That's right. We've been it's been guerrilla podcasting today. We've walked around the place, and we've dealt with rain, and we've dealt with cold weather, and we've dealt with flies, we've dealt with buses,
fire engine.
Fire engine, you name it.
I mean, how dare
all to bring it to you guys. So
how dare they have a fire like when we're trying to
film. That's it. Make sure you like and subscribe, because the effort SamPaul's gone to today to get this job done.
I appreciate that, man. I appreciate it.
No worries at all.
But thank you so much. Shout out to Grow Clothing in Melbourne. They are kindly donating some clothes in support of the podcast, so they'll be coming to the episodes very soon.
Very cool.
Obviously, shout out to EmceeBrodz for coming on the show.
You'll be linking like music and stuff.
Yeah,
Sick.
check the description of the video. There'll be a link to my man Brody's music.
Gangster.
Please do check it out. Subscribe to his Spotify and all that. You know, do all the supporting things. Yeah, and also just you know, a little subliminal shout out to Farmers Union for the iced coffee today. I did pay for them, but
Thanks, Sam.
But you know, they'll be making that that coffee gold. And yeah, if you're a cafe or a business or you know, any kind of small business, local business, and you want to get involved in and either being on the show or you want to help sponsor it a bit, do reach out at coffeewithsampaul@gmail.com. And yeah, that's pretty much it, man.
Thanks for having me on, dude. I appreciate it.
Pleasure, man. Peace.